Welcome back to New Rockstars. It's me, MT, and this is a breakdown of episode 6 of What If, where Black Panther fans everywhere are given the treat of the return of Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger to the MCU, in a scenario where Killmonger was the one to save Tony Stark in Afghanistan, rather than Tony being saved by a box of scraps, you know, like a normal person. But let us go ahead and get into all those neat little Easter eggs and things that you could have missed from this Iron Man-ass Black Panther crossover episode, shall we, my beautiful nerd babies? I think we shall. And right off the bat, we start off the episode with Uatu the Watcher stating, "Every journey has a beginning," and Jeffrey writes, "deeply mysterious, sultry voice that his mama gave him." Before we watch The Watcher, watch over the very beginnings of our journey through the MCU through the recreation of the very same opening shots from Iron Man 1 from right before Tony Stark's military convoy is attacked in the Kunar province of Afghanistan, with a few exceptions here and there. Like how the soldier named Jimmy who asks Tony for a picture holds up a camera in What If, but in the movie, he doesn't grab his camera until after Tony says it's okay. And also how the bullet holes that end up murdering poor soldier Jimmy shortly after are slightly different than in live action. Like it has a different spread. And you know, I've got to say it, but there is a glaringly apparent lack of both AC/DC's Back in Black and references to MySpace.com like we got in the live action movie, which is rude. Tom was your friend too, Marvel. Tom was your friend too. And after Tony does a skedaddle out of the convoy, we do notice that animated Tony uses a flip phone while RDJ kept that sidekick thing on him. Because how else is he going to replace Terrence Howard Rhodey with Don Cheadle Rhodey in his MySpace top 5? Exactly, there's no other way. Good God, Iron Man 1 is basically a period piece now. And then this leads us to our major Nexus event of the episode, Erik Killmonger yeeting the missile that would have embedded shrapnel into Tony Stark's body, forcing Tony to develop a miniaturized arc reactor and the first Iron Man suit to save his own life. And Killmonger's theme music from the Black Panther score plays in the background while Killmonger shoots and murders a ton of off-screen Ten Rings terrorists like this bitch had aimbot installed in his cranium. And I think that these animated movements could have been an intentional callback to that time where Everett Ross describes Killmonger's time in Afghanistan in Black Panther 1.
Joined the SEALs and went straight to Afghanistan, where he wrapped up confirmed kills like it was a video game.
And I do really dig this quick shot of Tony grasping Killmonger's wrist as he helps him up, because I believe that this shot is supposed to reflect a Spartan handshake, you know, to represent the new alliance/bond that these two now have together. And I also really love how we get to see Killmonger say that his name is a nickname in Afghanistan after Everett Ross alluded to him getting the nickname in Afghanistan in Black Panther 1. So it's cool to see that period when that name is like fresh because he just got it. And after the Watcher watches the beginnings of this very unfortunate new relationship, we get animated shots of the three most iconic moments of Tony Stark's journey as a hero in, you know, the good universe. The forging of the first Iron Man mask in the cave, the formation of the Avengers in New York, and finally, his final sacrifice in Avengers Endgame. And I especially love how when Uatu says the word forge, that we do get the shot of animated Tony forging his suit. However, in this instance, when he's banging on the box of scrappy mask in What If, I did notice that Tony's box of scrappy reactor in his chest glows a lot brighter and wider than Robert Downey Jr.'s more subtle reactor in the movie. And also, this animated Tony doesn't seem to have the glow of the fire source coming from the right side of the frame like RDJ does in the movie. And also, while the iconic Avengers pan from the movie, of course, starts off with Hulk screaming at us at the camera in Avengers 1, here we see it start with Iron Man before the Hulk screams. So like we kind of get like a couple seconds before that iconic shot with Iron Man starting it off. And also, when animated Endgame Tony snaps, there's a lot more delay before the screen goes to white than there is in Endgame. But anyways, moving on, when Tony begins his press conference, he notes that the drink that he was holding on the convoy was actually a Macallan whiskey from the year 1926, a bottle of which in the real world recently sold for a whopping $1.2 million. So yeah, I would be kind of upset too. Just one glass of that alcohol juice is worth more than my entire life. But anyways, after Tony announces Killmonger as his new chief security officer for Stark Industries, a job that was originally given to Happy Hogan in our timeline in Iron Man 3, which is why we see an unhappy Hogan here, Christine Everhart, the very same reporter that Tony Stark spends a night with at the very beginning of the first Iron Man film, is the one to ask what exactly Erik Killmonger was doing in Afghanistan in the first place, with actress Leslie Bibb reprising her role as Christine. But not reprising their role for this episode is Jeff Bridges as Obadiah Stane. Bane, with the voice actor Kith Van Hoovel doing a pretty damn good impression instead. Like, he does a fantastic job at capturing the exaggerated swagger of a greedy corporate executive who just got caught trying to assassinate the head of a major weapons company that Jeff Bridges just perfected in that role. Like, that exaggerated swagger is just hard to replicate.
With a box of scraps!
And I freaking love this Monger matchup here, with the Killmonger having taken down the Ironmonger by dropping Olive Stain's 10 Rings tea online Black Widow style. You know, because Black Widow did that at the end of Winter Soldier like a boss. Tea Erik procured during his time undercover in the 10 Rings, and all of this while the heartbeat-like thud of Ludwig Göransson's Killmonger theme plays in the background yet again. And I literally cannot get enough of that shit, because Ludwig Göransson is the man, son. But anyways, after Tony Stark says a wildly inappropriate sex joke about Maxim models coming for the king on the Disneyman.com, Tony Stark offers Killmonger Obadiah's job that Tony originally does give to Pepper in Iron Man 2, and says,
"You, me, will be like Butch and Sundance,"
which is, of course, a reference to the movie Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, starring Hydra's very own Robert Redford, which is like another instance in the MCU where Tony Stark mentions a movie where a co-star of his also starred in. You know, like that time Tony Stark mentioned The Big Lebowski in Endgame. And all this then leads us to seeing Pepper have a chat with Don Cheadle's James Rhodes, marking the second time What If has inserted an MCU recast into their acting predecessor's MCU time period, with the first instance being Mark Ruffalo's Hulk replacing Edward Norton's Hulk in episode 3 of What If. And later, when Tony and Killmonger hang out in Tony's Iron Man 1 garage, Killmonger picks up a portable version of the Jericho missile that Tony Stark was apparently working on even before he originally demonstrated the real thing in Afghanistan. And like, the design of it kind of reminds me of how S.H.I.E.L.D. miniaturized the Asgardian destroyer armor in Avengers 1. You know, the same gun that Coulson shoots Loki with before he dies like a badass. If I'm gonna go, I wanna go shooting an Asgardian asshole. And then shortly after, Killmonger quotes Howard Stark's line,
That's right. Peace means having a bigger stick than the other guy.
My old man had a philosophy. Peace means having a bigger stick than the other guy.
And when Erik tells Tony that his dad was killed by gang violence, we already know that Michael be lying, because we already done seen his dad get murdered by King T'Chaka in Black Panther 1. And Killmonger knew that his father was murdered by Panther Claws.
I found my daddy with Panther claws in his chest.
And here at New Rockstars, we're fans of learning. Whether it's about branch timelines or chemical reactions, it's fun to learn more about both the fantastical and real world. And Brilliant has been a great way for us to do just that. A brilliant way, some would say. And thank you to Brilliant for sponsoring this video. Brilliant is an educational service that replaces typical lecture videos with hands-on interactive lessons, and it's a better and more fun way to learn. And they have a really cool scientific thinking course. Check out this lesson on optics. And in it, you can move around an individual beam of light reflecting off of a gem in a box of mirrors to see the path that light takes to get to your eye. It's a great way to get started on learning the law of reflection. It's really cool. And Brilliant is here to inspire people to actively play with the ideas of math and science. The lessons are interactive and interesting, with quizzes and activities that bring the topics to life. And Brilliant offers masterfully designed courses that help you to conquer all sorts of technical subjects. And once I'm done with the scientific thinking course, I'm eyeballing the physics course, because your boy can't stop learning. I love to learn. And Brilliant has courses in applied science, number theory, quantum computing, and all sorts of other STEM topics. So you got all sorts of things there. So to support the channel and learn more about Brilliant, go to brilliant.org/newrockstars and sign up for free. And the first 200 people that go to the link will get 20% off the annual premium subscription. So try Brilliant today. And also, can we please talk about how Tony already had access to MIT's doctoral thesis database when pulling up Killmonger's plans for the Liberator mechs? Because this definitely feels like both a reference to Tony Stark's affinity for MIT that we see in Civil War, but it also makes me feel that maybe, just maybe, we'll find out that Tony Stark was well aware of Riri Williams' genius before he passed away in Endgame, when we see Riri at MIT in Wakanda Forever and her Ironheart series. I'm starting to get this weird vibe that Tony has been looking for a protege this entire time, which is why he's so readily accepting Killmonger as his like pseudo son, because Peter Parker at this age is just a young boy. Like, we haven't seen him yet in Iron Man 2, about to get shot by those hammer drones. But anyways, moving on, this anime Gundam inspired design of Erik's Wakanda liberating liberators was 100% inspired by actor Michael B. Jordan's deep love for the anime medium. You know, much like the design for Killmonger's entire outfit in Black Panther was revealed to have been designed with Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z supremacy in mind. Because us weebs are taking over the world! Which then kicks us off into a building montage with Tony and Erik, akin to the montage that we get in Iron Man 1 when Tony was first building his Mark II armor. But before this, Tony does mention
Need FPV wiring, nano circuitry, and Bloody Marys. Hangover's starting to kick in.
which kind of makes you see the wonders being a hero has done for Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony's alcoholism problem, which is, of course, something the character has historically struggled with a lot more in the comics. But in this universe, Tony seems to drink a lot more than we ever see him drink in the MCU. Like, he literally drops a glass of whiskey as he's dying. But anyways, while Tony and Erik are thinking of power sources for the mechs, eventually deciding on vibranium, much like Ultron did in Age of Ultron with his vibranium core for Sokovia, it kind of reminds me of that shot of Tony, Nat, and Bruce planning the New York time heist together. And I was also cracking up when Tony almost had the idea for a mini arc reactor.
If we could miniaturize an arc reactor, oh, that's a dumb idea.
But anyways, Tony eventually recruits the help of Ulysses Klaw, the notorious Black Panther villain with a killer sound system for an arm that was originally introduced in Age of Ultron. And that's when Tony says that he met Klaw at a weapons conference in the past where he found out about Klaw's interest in this hot new African rock that all the kids are talking about. It's gonna be all the rage. So this 2008 Tony reaching out to Klaw makes a lot of sense. And also, the office where the three talk about Klaw is a recreation of Tony's office from Iron Man 1, which is pretty fun. But anyways, when Rhodey meets up with Klaw to make a deal at Klaw's same South African salvage shipyard from Age of Ultron, Klaw managed to procure a spear from one of Wakanda's Dora Milaje, which apparently are worth $10 million a pop. So, needless to say, Johnny Mayonnaise experienced the world's most expensive ass beating in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Goddamn. But anyway, speaking of ass beatings, T'Challa, of course, gave a whole helping to Klaw's unfortunate partners in crime from the shadows, harkening back to that initial stealth scene of T'Challa stalking that convoy in the jungle in Black Panther. But unfortunately, as deadly as T'Challa was, both him and his MCU brother were killed by the hand of another MCU brother, a hand that was holding a new version of the Stark Industries sonic taser that, if you remember from Iron Man 1, was used by Obadiah Stane on more than one occasion. Like, I'm actually starting to wonder if Ulysses Klaw's arm in the MCU is based off of this sonic taser technology. And also, T'Challa dying by the hands of a sonic weapon at Klaw's place is definitely an allusion towards T'Challa's many dealings with the sonic-powered Klaw in the comics. Because in the comics, Klaw is essentially Black Panther's Joker, like that is his nemesis. But anyways, moving on, when T'Challa's body is being escorted by the Dora Milaje, the words Wakanda Forever can be seen written on his casket in the native Wakandan language, which of course serves as a soft tribute to the late Chadwick Boseman. But anyways, when Tony is confronting Killmonger about the murder of his best friend Rhodey, he pulls up a holographic model of the murder scene. If you remember, Tony also does this in Iron Man 3 when he recreates the sites of all the Mandarin bombings to play detective. But something I find really interesting after Erik kills Tony is the relationship between Killmonger and General Ross, because it kind of seems to mirror the relationship that T'Challa had with his military Ross, because he had Everett Ross, and now Killmonger has asshole Ross. Not as fun as Everett. Everett's a nice guy. So many Wakandan shenanigans to be done with a white Ross, let me tell ya. Grab a white Ross today. But anyways, when Killmonger and Klaw arrive at Wakanda's doorstep, the last thing Klaw learns before he is shot is that he's been working with a Wakandan this entire time. The same Wakandans that he thinks are savages.
Savages.
And this is a lot like he did in the movie, which I thought was a nice touch.
You savages didn't deserve it.
However, unlike the movie, this Killmonger reveals his Wakandan lip tattoo outside as he approaches Wakanda, whereas in the movie we don't get to see that Michael B. bottom lip until Erik kills Klaw. But anyways, shortly after this, we find out the badass Black Panther fact that Angela Bassett's Queen Ramonda was a freaking general of the Wakandan army, which makes a lot of sense considering that the Wakandan army is pretty much female dominated. And I very much love how both the King and Queen of Wakanda aren't afraid to get their hands dirty when they have to. Like, they're kind of like Odin and Frigga in that way. And when Killmonger's Liberators finally breach through Wakanda's barriers to liberate Wakanda from Erik's family, we get to see the world's reaction to discovering the true opulence of Wakanda for the very first time through the eyes of General Ross. Undoubtedly giving this universe's Wakanda even more geopolitical enemies, because everyone wants that sweet-ass vibranium, and no one's gonna like finding out that this African nation is the most powerful and most technologically advanced nation in the world. And And after that crazy final battle that ends with yet another subtle, tearful tribute to T'Challa and Chadwick Boseman by Queen Ramonda, we have Killmonger and T'Chaka enjoying a Wakandan sunset together in the same way that him and T'Challa did in Black Panther. But this time with Killmonger on his feet in victory rather than on his knees in defeat. And there he would, of course, trick his uncle into making him the next Black Panther. But instead of seeing his father in the ancestral plane, Killmonger has a contentious conversation with his cousin T'Challa instead. And man, I don't know about you, but seeing Chadwick Boseman as a Panther on that Panther tree hit me where I live, man, because it's really wild to think that Chadwick recorded this scene while going through all of that pain that he was going through himself. So rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. We really appreciate everything that you've done. And of course, the episode ends with Shuri and Pepper, the only smart people in this universe apparently, meeting up to potentially do something about their Killmonger problem. But not before Ross notes that they're ready to launch a bunch of Tony's crazy powerful Jericho missiles at Wakanda. I'm not sure what's going to happen next, but it's for sure going to be some messy shit. Though I do secretly hope that Shuri and Pepper team up to make Wakandan Iron Man suits, because let's be real, making an Iron Man suit kind of science fair ass shit for Shuri. And Iron Man suits do not exist in this universe, so it'd be really cool to see Shuri come up with the idea for the Iron Man concept. But yeah, that is it for our breakdown for episode 6 of What If. What did you guys think of the episode? Let us know in the comment section below, my nerd babies. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. You can follow me at MasterTainment on Twitter if you want to see me tweet some weird shit. But most importantly, please follow New Rockstars on Twitter and YouTube. And when you do on YouTube, make sure to hit that notification bell so you can get notifications whenever we upload a video. Please go to newrockstarsmerch.com to pick up our really awesome shirts like the Shang-Chi Morris shirt that everyone is really digging. Everyone's really loving it. So pick one up today before it disappears forever. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye.